basically, most of the censorship in Belarus is still done through economic pressure. So it's not the kind of country where, as yet, we haven't heard from anyone yet that musicians are arrested, beaten, the people who possess their CDs, they're not also targeted. So it's not the situation where they're directly targeted in this way. Not yet, anyway. Some fear that this will change. But in addition to these economic pressures, there is a move towards legislation which is restricting freedom of expression. At the moment, Constitution states that all censorship is prohibited, and in fact there is no censorship in Belarus officially. But there are some defamation laws which have come into power recently, some at the end of 2005, beginning of 2006. Two main ones are insulting the president is now punishable by prison sentence of up to 5 years in prison. And discrediting Belarus abroad is punishable up to 2 years in prison. This has not yet been used against musicians, but they're very fearful that it will do in the near future, and they're already self-censoring themselves in order to avoid this kind of punishment. Secondly, there's also legislation that has been brought in that 75% of music played on radio and TV should be of Belarusian origin, and this is a very contentious issue because it seems that this would help native, indigenous Belarusian music scene, but what is considered Belarusian is anyone's guess. And in fact, we were told anyone with a great grandfather from Belarus who now lives in Russia and is, Russian can actually count as Belarusian. So it's in fact it doesn't mean anything. And most of the popular Belarusian singers and Belarusian language singers are actually not played on radio at all.
So essentially, this is just a very quick summary of stuff that's in the report, but how do musicians get around this situation where it's very difficult to make any money? Number one, internet culture is huge. And what musicians tend to do is they tend to put their music up on the internet for free. So so music stops becoming a commercial venture and it starts becoming something social, and it starts becoming part of a social network. So the free download culture in Belarus is huge, and everything that is not official is available for free in plenty of places on the internet. Secondly, they go abroad for concerts. Poland has a very large Belarusian community, and most Belarusian musicians who can't get a gig at home play in Poland quite a lot. There are very small clubs that are continually mushrooming up in town. They come around for about 6 months, maximum a year, and then they're closed down. But during that time, they put on concerts, tiny concerts to 50 or 60 people, pretending to be a birthday party, or pretending to be some kind of poetry reading or something. But actually, there are concerts going on, but they don't dare to advertise them. And another way is a very interesting thing is that there are a lot of people involved, politically anyway, who are under 18. Because they can't be arrested. And so there's a very interesting music project, which unfortunately we don't have time to show you, but we can show anyone who... it's actually going to be, the video is going to be included on a CD we're doing for the Freemuse report, which will be ready very shortly, which is students of a school, Belarusian language school that's been closed down, who have started writing music which is not at all accusing Lukashenko in between the lines. It's very direct. And I'll give you an example of the lyrics. The lyrics on this song, which for Belarus is quite unprecedentedly strong, I must say. It says, "We will walk out and defend against those who smashed our language like trash. For our honor, why are we the worst in the world? Arise our nations, we cannot wait anymore. Changes are needed, we will raise our heads. Do we agree to what we see? No, no. Will we suffer oppression? No, no. No one will take our freedom away. We are together and we will win." So this language, very much a product of Soviet education. It's framed in a lot of this anti-Lukashenko songs. They're framed in the language of that they're partisans, like in the Second World War, and they're fighting against oppression and fascism. Except the difference is that they're not talking about the Germans, but they're talking about Soviet power how they see Lukashenko as the embodiment of Soviet power.